Shalom y'all, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and I'm here without part of my hair. Yes, I just returned from Israel and I figured, hey, those soldiers out there look cool, maybe I should try the same thing. Maybe I shouldn't have, but regardless, it'll grow back. And in fact, in my next videos, it will be back because I shot these out of sequence. Regardless, let's get down to business. While I was in Israel, I made some amazing new friends and had some amazing food. Now, to me, a part of a trip is all about the food. Believe me, a top contender for me in planning the trip is the food out there, and Israel, guys, did not disappoint. There were so many amazing things there, from shawarma to falafel to hummus. All of it was incredible. So I decided I wanted to make something that was gonna kind of marry a bunch of the flavors I had there into something unique and simple to make in the Instant Pot. I mean, it's not like I can make shawarma in here because I don't have a shawarma spit. Who has a shawarma spit in their house, let alone an apartment like this? Or if I do try shawarma, it's not gonna be in that style. Maybe I'll do that too. But guys, today we're gonna focus on a dish that's gonna be so hearty and so unbelievable. We're gonna be making a stew. I'm gonna be calling this a Mediterranean stew. It's gonna have lamb in it, it's gonna have some chicken thighs in it, some chickpeas, onions, and an amazing array of spices to make this thing really come to life. And I have to tell you, after making this, it is one of the best recipes I've ever come up with. It is so unique, so unbelievably delicious, and honestly, after making this thing, I am so proud of this recipe. It is one of my favorite things ever. It's gonna make you want to savor the flavor like nothing before, and it's gonna be one of your go-to stews. So guys, we're gonna take a little bit of the Middle East and have ourselves a great big feast. Let's go right to the Instant Pot and make one of the most amazing stews ever, some Mediterranean stew. So let's get all the spices out of the way by just mixing them together in a bowl to begin with, alright? So we're gonna start with 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of curry powder, 1 tablespoon of seasoned salt, I'm using Lowry's, a half a tablespoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Now these last two things are optional, but I'm adding them because I like some spice in there. But I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes and a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Again, the crushed red pepper flakes and the cayenne pepper are totally optional, and you can use less of each if you want to, but I like this to be a little spicy, so I'm gonna add that in there. It's gonna add a wonderful, wonderful flavor kick to it. And then just mix our spices up nice and good together so that they're nice and blended. All right, let's set that aside. I wanna take 1 large yellow onion and slice it up long ways, just like this, so we have nice kind of chunky little wedges here. You see? I also want to take 1 red onion and slice it up into thin strips, just like this. See how we have like a thin strip thing going on here once we cut it up? And just separate like that. That's what we want. Let's take 1 lemon and juice it. And let's take 2 carrots, peel them and dice them up like this. Now I want to take 2 15.5-ounce or so cans of chickpeas and drain them and rinse them and set it aside. And now let's get to our meat. I want to use 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. If you can't find them boneless, just cut around the bone, or you could even use breasts, but I feel like chicken thighs are going to be absolutely the best cut of meat for this amazing stew. And cut it up into nice little chunks just like this. You see that? Cut it up good. And you can also trim all the remaining fat off of them as well, remove all that. And there we go, our perfect chicken thighs. We're also going to use between 1 and 2 pounds. I'm using 2 pounds of a ground lamb or a ground beef if you prefer a ground beef. Also, ground lamb's a little more expensive, but it's going to be absolutely fantastic in this. But we'll get back to that in a second. So now let's go to our Instant Pot, and we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of salted butter, as well as 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. So I want to come down to the pot and I want to hit the saute function and adjust so I'm on the more or the high setting. And once the butter's melted and the oil's sizzling, I'm going to add in my red onion, yellow onion, and carrots. And we're going to let this cook in the pot for about 5 minutes until the onions soften and cook down a bit. And after about 5 minutes of stirring, you'll see the onions have softened a bunch and have cooked down. So now we want to add in our lamb. And I'm going to add in 2 pounds of it. And then break it up in the pot so it gets nice and crumbled. Let it brown for a little bit. And again, you can use ground beef instead of the ground lamb if you prefer, but I really think this is going to set it over the top by using lamb. I mean, it's a Middle Eastern dish, right? What's that? You don't eat meat? I make lamb. And then once our lamb is looking slightly browned in color, you're going to see a lot of liquid also is going to start to form in there from the lamb cooking. We're going to leave that right in the pot. It's going to add incredible flavor. I'm going to add my pound of cut up chicken thighs. Just quickly give that a good stir. And now we want to add all of our spices and mix that into the pot. Get it all nice and combined with our chicken and our lamb. Now we're going to really start seasoning this up. And make sure everything gets nice and coated with the seasoning. It's gonna be tempting to lick the spoon, but don't do that because there's like raw meat all over it. And now I'm gonna add in a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. And stir that in. Make sure you're scraping the bottom of the pot, deglazing it at the same time so nothing's sticking. And now let's add in our lemon juice. And now let's add in 2 cups of chicken broth and 2 cups of garlic broth. Or you can just use 4 cups of chicken broth, that's fine too. A 14.5-ounce can of diced tomatoes with their juices. Our drained chickpeas. And 2 cups of coleslaw mix that you can find in the produce section of the supermarket. Just use 2 cups of it. Pour that in. And now let's just mix everything together nice and good in the pot. Really scoop everything up. Make sure everything is nice and combined. Scrape the bottom of the pot and also add in a tablespoon of garlic for the final step. And now we are good to put our lid on there and cook. So let's secure our lid. Make sure we are in sealing position. Now I want to come down on my pot and hit the keep warm cancel button and then hit the manual button, and I want to go for 7 minutes on high pressure. And be patient, this is going to take some time to build the pressure, between 10 to 20 minutes. And our work here is done, so let's quick release. Boom! And the pin just dropped, so let's take the lid off. Ooh. And there is our fantastic lamb and chicken stew, Mediterranean style. Now, if we want to, you can skim off some of the oil that was cooked in the pot, or you can leave it in there. Some people really like that. But I'm gonna skim some of this off and just discard it. About 4 serving spoonfuls should do the trick. And then just mix everything up together, and we are looking like a delicious, rich stew. Okay, a couple of final steps. I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, a teaspoon of celery salt, a teaspoon of dried cilantro, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And a cup of frozen corn kernels. And then mix those in, and they are going to cook and thaw very quickly because this is a very hot stew. And let's stir everything up together in the pot, nice and good. Now I want to add in some crushed tomatoes. Now this is a 28-ounce can of it, but I can't really find crushed tomatoes in a smaller size other than a 28-ounce can. Now I didn't add this to the pot when I pressure cooked because it's going to make it too thick otherwise, and it's going to have maybe some issues coming to pressure. It's pretty much just the threshold as it is when we pressure cook, so we're going to stir that in right now. Add you in there. And then just stir that up with everything else that's already in the pot. And guys, look at this beautiful stew. Just look at it. Completely packed to the brim with lamb, chicken, chickpeas, vegetables, and of course, spices to make a spice market go out of business. Alright guys, let's serve it into bowls. Alright, and now let's ladle this into a bowl. This is going to be an incredible, incredible stew. Just full of rich and amazing flavor. Okay guys, now we have some options to top this off. Now, a very popular garnish when I was in Israel to put on top of like a shawarma or a stew or something of that nature is actually some like sour or dill pickles. So I'm going to add a few to this. Now that's totally optional, but it's going to make a really incredible flavor to offset everything else that's going on in this stew. Now a nice little touch to add to this soup is to garnish it with a little bit of tzatziki, which I've made myself in my own recipe, and I'll link it in here, or you can just buy it in the store if you don't want to. But I made this in the Instant Pot using a Greek strained yogurt, and I'm just going to put a little dollop on top. And then I'm just gonna mix everything together with the stew, and we're gonna have something really special here. All right, guys, I'm gonna try it out now. All right, here we go. I mean, I feel a little bit like Mad Max with glasses, like I said, but whatever. All right. Ooh, oh boy. All right, guys, I hate to brag here, I really do, but what I've created here is so unique and so full of flavor that with each and every bite, you're gonna wanna savor. Wow, 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 wow. This Mediterranean, Israeli, lamb, chicken stew, whatever you want to call it, is something incredible. And I'm telling you, here and now, you're going to make this for your family and they're going to all go gaga over it. And when you add that tzatziki and even the pickles in there, which are, again, are totally optional, I'm telling you, it brings everything together. It just ties it together. I mean, this stew is already so rich and flavorful as it is, but once you add that tzatziki and if you want to put a few of those pickles in there and you mix it up, oh, it takes it to the next step. It's almost like a Middle Eastern chili, if that makes any sense. It's incredible. This is truly one of my proudest creations right here, this stew. Top notch, grade A. The flavors so remind me of being in the Middle East. It's just wonderful and it's full of deliciousness. This is a great dish for you to expand and open your mind to something new, because I'm telling you, once you try this, you're never gonna wanna go back. It's gonna become an instant staple in your household. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, go to pressureluckcooking.com. I have tons of recipes there. This is my first lamb recipe. I'm so excited about it. And you can pin any recipe to any Pinterest board. Go to facebook.com/pressureluckcooking and like that page for all new recipes that drop, for tips, for deals, for humor. You definitely want to like that page. And of course, at Pressure Luck to subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, all of that stuff. Guys, thank you so much again for all your support, because this stew is gonna make you go, woohoo! All right.